Okay, and here we are. We're going live on YouTube. Welcome everybody to Psychic Cafe. Come on in, grab your coffee or tea, pull up a chair, and let's hang out and talk tarot and everything psychic. Lenormand and numerology and astrology and Kepler and oracle cards and you name it, we pretty much do it. Animal communication. Where's Charlotte when you need her, right? Yeah.
Right.
So no intro music from the radio simulcast because yes, Blog Talk is still down. It's been down all week since Monday. So we are flying solo here on YouTube, all on YouTube. So it's just you guys in the chat live with us here.
That's all right.
Yeah,
We're used to this. We're getting good at this.
I know. I know. So as you can see, obviously Michelle is here as my guest co-host, but we are so lucky we have artist and deck creator Roxi Sim with us. Hey, Roxy.
Hey, how you doing?
And you got your artwork right behind you. So perfect. Look at that. Look, everybody, you can see the art behind Roxy there. So Roxy contacted me and let me know that she's auctioning off her original art for the Pearls of Wisdom Tarot. And I said, oh, we have to do a show
Thank you so
and
much.
talk about that. So here we are. How you been too? It's been, I don't know, decades.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah, I've had the paintings in storage for many years. Like I finished the series in 2007, so I did a little show in 2011 of the majors, and then they've been in storage for all this time. So we used to connect, on the Eclectic Tarot back in the day, and the Tarot Guild and all of that kind of stuff. And then now everything's on Facebook, and so I've been out there doing that kind of stuff and promoting the deck and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And from back in the early days, I took back my rights and I have self-published the deck now through the Game Crafter in the US. And so
Yeah.
it's a whole different story. It's hard, can't, it's more people have to go to the site and order the deck, and then they print it for them and then ship them out internationally from there. So it's a little bit different than having it published through a publisher and that gets in stores and that kind of thing. So
I kind of like the print on demand myself. It means a lot of artists that wouldn't be able to do a deck because they couldn't get a deal with a major publisher like you had to do back in the day, um, or you had to mortgage your house to get
exactly,
to get it
that's how,
printed.
yeah.
Yes. Those were the only two ways back in the day. Now it's print on demand. Anybody can get a deck out there. And so
Yeah.
we have thousands and thousands more deck. And even some of the people that have published a deck or two or three on Llewellyn or US Games or Schiffer or what have you, even some of them like have come out with decks more recently, and those they've self-published
Yeah.
because they make so much more money.
Well, there is that part. And for me, I did the self-publishing route because at the time I was not well. I was very sick with Lyme disease. And so I needed the
Hmm.
idea of printing them like, say, Pamela Steele did, and having them all in the basement and having to mail them and do all of
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. That just wasn't going to be in the cards for me, so to speak. So I kind of just wanted the check in the mail kind of concept. And the other thing about the Game Crafter that I really like is they always are trying to improve as they go along. The cardstock is improved over the years and that kind of thing.
Oh.
And they allow you to do them in different sizes. So I have like a poker size and a jumbo size. And you can see how well the colors go with the original painting in the background there. They're really
There it
good
is.
at the details. I don't know how focused, there we go. Get
Yeah.
all the details and everything in them. And the other thing is, with all of the pirated decks that are out there
Oh
now,
yeah.
it's just heartbreaking for so many artists. These are authentic decks. You
Mhm.
are getting an authentic deck. There's no pirating here. And does it cost more? Absolutely, it costs more. But you
Sure.
know you're getting an authentic deck, and you also know that the artist is getting paid. right? Where,
Right. You're
the pirating
really
deck,
supporting.
somebody's taken your art and all. Like for me, this series took me 7 years to paint.
Mhm.
And then if somebody was to pirate that, they're just taking 7 years of my life and making money off of something that, they did nothing for, right?
That was going to be one of my questions. How long did it take you to do actual full size paintings? I knew it was 7 years because we interviewed you
Yeah,
years ago about it, but I wanted the audience to know this wasn't a 7 week, 7 month project. It was really long. The more I think about it with the print on demand, it really gets rid of or solves a lot of the problems we're having nowadays with the pirated decks, as well as artists, authors, creators, not getting their full shrift. Like you go with a major publishing house, you do that because you want to get it out there to a larger audience, but you're making pennies on the dollar, when
yeah, exactly.
you know
And
Yeah.
I've known
the
somebody who published a
they,
deck and they haven't been paid,
and they
right?
and right and but they also they mass produce it costs them less to mass produce, so they sell it less, which means your cut, which is very tiny, is going to be even less.
Yeah,
Whereas self-publishing, yeah, it's more expensive, but you're also getting the lion's share of the cost of the deck. The other thing that I because you mentioned, Roxy, about and it's a big problem, with the pirated decks out there from China mostly, and places. When you said that, and I thought about, okay, so let's say you have a deck on GameCrafter, that solves that issue as well, because in all your publications, in all your promotions, all the podcasts you go on, the YouTube shows like this, your own website, your blogs, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, every time you talk about this deck, every time an artist that has their deck on something, a platform like GameCrafter, they then can so easily just say, don't buy it anywhere else except
exactly,
GameCrafter.
exactly, right? And that's
Or
a big part.
they actually can't get it
Yeah,
physically. You can't order it from anywhere from game except GameCrafter, unless someone buys a
Right.
few and then
right. I
sell.
have seen like my first and second edition decks for sale on eBay, and
Mm.
somewhere anywhere in the range of $200 to $800, depends, because they're
Yeah.
out of print, right? So there is a whole investment aspect to the tarot world, and especially people that are maybe doing a run of 1,000 and then it's out of print, and that kind of thing, and people trade in those decks as well, right? And
Mm-hmm.
not so much with the print on demand, because they can probably just go and order a new one from there. But I like the idea that you've ordered it and it's printed just for you, so you
Yeah,
have
that's
this
kind of cute too.
printed just for you, mailed directly to you. And they don't put them in order. They all come out of order. So I
Oh,
also go, well, there's your
Like
first
that.
reading.
you
There's your
no need to shuffle out of the box. You just take
right,
it out of the box and start
right,
reading.
and there's your
I
first
like
reading.
it.
Well, I've received really beautiful box sets from major publishers, and this is recently, like this year. And I got to tell you that uh you know you're going with a major publisher, you're not protected from uh decks, not being printed quite right and everything. I've had really, and we're talking major. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to scare anybody off from buying certain decks, but I
Hmm.
I was shocked to see, the printing is off, they're skewed, and different things like that. And I know a lot of people go, well, self-published decks and publishers like GameCrafter, it's just not as good. It's like, PS, because
Hmm.
I've gotten ones from, I'm not going to name names, but it's in the top, the top 3 to 5 deck publishers in the world, you know,
Yep.
I've received decks from them that the color was off, or um it printed it like on an angle, so the cardstock's like this, and it's printed, it has like a white space, and you know
Well, I have to
nothing.
give Gamecrafter kudos because over the time that I've been publishing with them, they've upped their game all the time because
Mm.
they listen to
Nice.
people, they listen to their customers, right? And people will say, "Oh, the card stock is too this and that," and so they've upped the card stock. And it's really nice card stock. It's crisp and I don't have any dents or anything like that. You can publish them in different sizes, so like jumbo size and poker size. You can also get a tarot size. And so they have you can get them like with the box. Here's my box here.
I love that box.
Right.
Yes.
Oh,
Get
That is
Roxy,
just beautiful.
real quick, what's the difference between the jumbo size and the tarot size? Is that in between the two you showed, the poker
Yeah,
and the
the tarot
jumbo?
size is narrower. So
The
my
tarot.
aspect ratio, see, when I started this, I didn't know anything about the actual printing, right? My
Mhm.
paintings, the major arcanas are 30 by 40, and the minor arcanas are 24 by 36. So right there, I had two different sizes, right? And then how they print on a page or a card depends on that. So if I were to go with the tarot size, would actually have to elongate the alter them, right, to
Mhm.
fit, right. So the jumbo seems to be the best for both of them, but even so they are a little bit digitally altered because of just the aspect ratio,
Right.
right. So it is a,
But I
yeah,
love jumbo.
yeah, the jumbo's
The
nice.
Llewellyn deck, the actual Llewellyn deck, is one of my favorites, and it's wider than a normal
Yeah,
Hmm.
tarot deck,
yeah.
and almost square. And I love the size of it. I like a substantial deck, and
And I
that
worked
one's
really
even
hard to get
bigger.
borderless as well,
Oh,
and
just
that was quite a
fabulous.
trick for doing that, so that because I painted the paintings right out to the edge, right. I didn't understand about
Yeah,
bleeds or any
bleed
of that.
over, and yeah,
And
all that.
I kind of took on this whole project like the fool. um I didn't know anything about tarot either. I
Mhm.
had friends who had seen some of my other paintings that I'd done, like a Universal Doll series that I had done, and they go, "Oh, those
Okay,
look like tarot cards." And I'm like, "Okay,
what's
what are
that?
tarot cards?" Like I had kind of
Right.
heard about them, but I didn't really know anything. And they said, "Oh, well," and they showed me a few decks, and I don't even know what the decks were, but showed me a few decks, and I kind of went through them, and I thought, well, I could do that. Might take me a couple of years, right? Not thinking seven. But I was also coming from a place
78 cards.
um,
Woo.
of a really difficult place. I had lost my health to Lyme disease. I had lost my youngest son, who was 9 years old at the time,
Oh my God.
and I had lost my mom, all within 5 years. And at that point, in between losing my son and my mom, I had spent with my family a year in Grenada in the West Indies, and that's
Mhm.
where I took up painting. And I had also studied art therapy at university, so I realized that painting was my art therapy, and that was how I was going to cope with my grief and just I needed to do something that I could still do because Lyme disease kind of takes all your energy and so many things
Hmm.
from you, right? And
Hmm.
so my whole concept was that this was going to be about my own healing first and my own art therapy first. So I painted what I needed to see, which were bright colors and joyful images and that kind of thing. And because I didn't know anything about the tarot, and because I was an artist, so I wanted mine to be original, um, I didn't really look at the Rider-Waite deck or any of the other decks in particular. What I did was get books. So I had, Rachel Pollack's book, I had Mary Kay Greer's book, I had all these different books. And then when people um, were seeing that what I was doing, I was gifted the book called Tussie Mussies, which is the language of flowers. Somebody gave me some runes, and somebody gave me the Medicine Woman Tarot. And
Mhm.
in looking at the book that came with that, there was the path to wellness or path to healing. And so I thought that in doing this, that even if I couldn't heal my physical self, I could heal my spiritual self, or what heal my spirit and cope with my losses and my grief. And it really gave me a reason to get up in the morning, and it gave me something to put my mind on in terms of doing the research. And I just would read all these different books and write words and just put it all into kind of like a script, like we were talking about before, Dax. And then I would go, okay, so what flower means, this, and what rune means that, and that kind of thing. And then I kind of put it together, kind of like a puzzle, so that the card would have a rune that would have this meaning, or a flower that would have that meaning. And then in the back of the book, I have all of like a list of what all the different things mean in alphabetical order, so that people can look up, say, the dandelion, oh, that means wishes come true, or the chrysanthemum means optimism, and red and white roses is creative energy, and that kind of thing. So that if they learn all of that, then that helps them to read the card, right? And so even the tough cards, like the tower, which I definitely lived, and I actually kind of lived through each of the cards as I painted them. It was a very I don't even know have words for it, but it was a really incredible experience because, like I said, I didn't know what I was stepping into in terms of what the tarot meant and stuff. And then people would show up in the cards, like, this is actually my friend Heather. She showed up in the cards, and I just had to let it go. And the sun, I wanted to be somebody else, and then I kept painting it, and I realized actually it had the same eyes as me, so it has two different colored eyes, and I have two different colored eyes, so I'm the sun. So I put the mask on so you couldn't really tell. And so it had this really healing process as I went through it. And I had no idea what I was going to do with them. There's like 80 paintings, and they're huge,
Yeah,
right? And
it's unbelievable. 80.
yeah, and so I did get published right away, and then there was problems with the publishing, so I'm not going to mention the publisher or anything. They published 10,000, and they were flawed, and badly flawed. They had bubbles and all sorts of things like that, which was pretty gutting after 7 years of creating this. And so 9,000 of my decks ended up in the Houston landfill.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was pretty gutting. So, and then they did a second edition, and that was not all that much better. It had all these little bumps all around the outside, and so
Oh,
eventually I took my rights back, and then I rephotographed all the paintings with. So this is kind of going from 2007 to 2015 in that era. So I rephotographed all my paintings with a Zeiss lens, which is super high quality lens. It gave me really good high resolution images. And then I turned to the Game Crafter, and my son did all of the templating and all of the rest of that kind of stuff. So these cards have like really high resolution, really good detail. You can see everything in them. And the color you can see matches extremely well to the originals.
oh,
And
can you
so
move? You have one of the jumbo cards. Can you move it close to the camera a little bit? Yeah, look at that.
you can see
Wow.
all the details in them, right? So,
Yeah,
so I'm really quite pleased with, and the card stock and all of that kind of stuff with the Game Crafter. And like we were saying before, they're not getting pirated, and you're getting an authentic deck. So you're actually, it's kind of, excuse me, a kind of a rare thing in the tarot world, right?
it is.
And
Because
and
I'm
so
I'm thinking about it. You go with a large, let's say you go with Llewellyn, US Games, Schiffer, um, Red Feather. I mean, there's a whole bunch, and the idea is kind of like the opposite. The idea is to get it out absolutely everywhere, so it's available on Amazon, it's available on Borders, Borders is, I'm showing my age, Borders books, Barnes and Noble. But oh
Yeah.
my god, I miss Borders so much. They had
Right?
Seattle's best coffee brand in their cafe, and it was so good. Anyway, I digress. uh we're all gonna have a sad moment about Borders here. But no, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, a lot of the other stores,
Mhm.
uh individual stores get the decks in, um and of course the publishers websites, and it's just they try to put them out everywhere, which is great, but then that means anybody and everybody can just get a hold of those decks from anywhere, and they can make pirated versions so
Yeah.
easily,
Yeah.
so self-publishing, not only do you make more money, I keep going back to the money, and I'm
Well,
sorry,
it is in the
but
sense
also
that you can make more money per deck, right? You can set your own pricing. And I try to not make it cost a certain amount to print it. So there's that I don't really have any control over, right? So I
right,
just try to keep my percentage on top reasonable. So, because you're not going to sell as many, but you make a little bit more than you would
right,
other, right? And then what
yeah,
I like about it is they ship internationally. So I did a tally for for my marketing that I'm going to be doing for my auction. And so I did a tally and found out Great Britain, a lot of people in Great Britain bought my decks. They've gone to Australia, they've gone to Taiwan and Japan, they've gone all
Wow.
over the States, Canada, and so it gives me a sense there's there to France and Holland and all of that kind of stuff. So my deck, when I first started it, my goal was to have it sold globally, and thinking that that would make me rich. But anyways, but it has gone globally, and so that's kind of a neat thing too, because as an artist, um, your paintings that you do, you're going to sell them in your local area. Maybe you do a show down in Vancouver or something like that, which I have done. But this actually gave me a global audience for my
mm-hmm,
artwork, right?
yep.
So
Mm.
now the idea for the auction is to also make that global.
Oh, and I want to get into that. It's so rare now, especially now, because a lot of the artwork with tarot, a lot of it, of course, has gone digital. There's AI.
Mhm.
But even before AI and before digital was as much of a thing as it is now, we all know, Ciro Marchetti's decks and so forth. Um, Even before that, most artists that were creating for tarot decks, like this is a watercolor and
Yeah.
Anne's artwork, it was done in small form, and to have full size, large paintings, and
Wow.
then
Just amazing.
have them printed into a deck is what was super rare and is now like really super rare, and to be
I don't think there's anybody who's done their paintings as large as I have. A lot of
yeah,
people work smaller.
they work smaller, yeah, and
Yeah.
some of them are,
Mhm.
some of them aren't painting, they are doing either watercolor or, um, really common now is just drawing,
Drawings. Yeah.
and then they might process that in,
Yeah.
later on in Photoshop. um but this is like such a rare opportunity to get a piece of tarot history as
Exactly.
well as tarot art, and you can't get that with anything else, and there's only 80 in the world.
That's right.
Yeah,
There's only 80 in the world,
exactly.
and 10 of them have already been sold. So I did
Mhm.
a pre-auction sale on Facebook,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and the idea there was to kind of set the reserve bid price, and also to
Oh
see
yeah,
if there was interest, right? And then for me to also figure out my shipping and packing and all of that part of it as well, and how to use PayPal and get that all
that's a
organized, right?
lot.
So my paintings have gone to New York and Vermont and Pennsylvania, Maryland, California, and British Columbia so far. And I'm kind of hoping that they will go further. And I will be shipping them via FedEx. And I
Mhm.
figured out all the packing, and I used pool noodles around the outside so they
Oh,
can't get
nice.
it, right? And I double pack them cardboard inside another box. So they're like, there's no way anything's going to get them, right? And send them by FedEx. And then my son and I, we were talking about doing a big show at maybe one of the wineries here, because BC's got quite a few cool wineries.
Yeah, that would be
I
cool.
realized I've just moved
Oh,
to
by the way, everybody, she's in that foreign land way up north,
Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
Canada.
And that's the accent too. Sorry, people. But anyways,
Canada.
yeah, Canada. So anyways, I thought about doing that, and then I thought all the logistics about I would need an easel for each of them and lights, and like who's going to do this? I don't know anybody here, like all of that. And
You're gonna spend
then I
more
had
money
thought,
on
well, I
that
would do a
than
live
pretty.
auction while that was happening, and then it kind of just came down, well, why don't we just do the auction? So I looked around online. There was lots of art auctions, but usually they were for charities, right? And I'm like, well, I'm the charity this time.
Hello,
You
it's my
know,
retirement.
I'm retired now, and because I was sick for so many years, yes, I do have a pension from teaching, but it goes back to 1995. So it's not as healthy a pension as it would have been otherwise. And so I went online and I found this auction company out of the UK called iRostrum, and they had pottery for sale from well-known potters. And previous to taking up painting, I was a potter, so I recognized all the names of Bernard Leach and Shoshi Hamada, and they were selling those pots for thousands of dollars.
Wow.
And I thought, okay, I could maybe trust these people, right, with this. And so I connected with them, and I did Zooms with them with my son. And they suggested that I break the series up because, again, they said we've never done anything like this before. So I'm kind of like this. I'm the cross country skier at the front of the line, right? Everybody gets the tracks afterwards, and I'm certainly going to be willing to share with how this all goes once I'm done with it. But um, so they suggested that we split them into the major arcana and then each of the suits. And they said you should do close-up videos of all of the paintings so people can see the brushstrokes. And
Oh
I have
yeah, very
iridescent
cool
paints and
idea.
stuff on them as well, so they can see that, which don't really show up in the cards, but they're kind of make it magical in the light kind of thing. And so I've done close-up videos and voiceovers of each of the cards. And then I've done a longer video that it's kind of like what we're talking about here, where I started it, where it came from, all of that kind of stuff, and then show the slideshow of the ones that are up for sale this time, and that I'm going to be working through PayPal and FedEx to do the shipping and that kind of thing. And then what will happen is in September, it'll go up on their site. And then my son has the original Zeiss lens photos that are like super high resolution. So people will be able to zoom right into them and see like every brushstroke, every
Oh
texture,
yeah.
everything like that. So they know that it's not a scam or a geekly or, like a print on a canvas, because there's all of those things that exist now. You kind of have to be willing to take the extra effort to prove that no, these are actually original artworks and that kind of thing, right? And then then they'll be up for a month on their site for September. And I'll also have links. So I did videos. So for each painting, there'll be a link to YouTube, my YouTube channel that shows the close-up videos.
Right.
And then then the first 2 weeks of October will be bidding. And then the 15th will be the end. And then I have to they pay through PayPal and that kind of thing. So, and I get all their emails and all their information so that when the next one comes up, I can send information to them directly and let them know, okay, now I'm going to do the cups, or now I'm going to do the wands or whatever.
So
And
it'll be
so,
like 5 auctions.
yeah, so it'll be 5 auctions. So it'll probably take me a couple of years. I hope
Yeah.
to do this one in October and then let the Christmas season go by, and then maybe one in the spring. And then they say don't do it in the summertime. So their auctions, they
Yeah.
said nobody buys in August. So
I bet.
I've skipped over. So then there'll be another one in the fall. So I'll do like a spring and fall and a spring and fall kind of thing. And then hopefully they'll end up all over the world. That's the goal. And yeah.
A few things real quick. I made some URLs, and I don't know why I'm getting balloons right now, but
It's
when
my
I do,
birthday.
so yeah, we're celebrating Roxy's birthday. I turned
Oh,
60,
happy
she turned
birthday.
70.
I
That's
just turned
right.
70. Yeah.
We're exactly 10 years apart. I made up some URLs to make this a lot easier for everybody, and I've already put them into the chat. Now, this first one, Pearls, will take you to the Game Crafter page. And actually, let me bring that up. Pearls. So it's psychic.cafe/pearls. We'll take you right over to the Pearls of Wisdom Tarot, third edition. Now, this page it takes you to on Game Crafter is the gold edition. And I sent you there because this is the one with the jumbo deck, 80 cards, and the tall booklet, large booklet, the box and everything. This is the premium one here. Now, once you get over to Game Crafters, in the search, you can type in Pearls of Wisdom Tarot, and you can see all the different versions. Like Roxy mentioned, the playing card version, and
Mhm.
There's the
besides,
platinum version that has both the jumbo and the poker size, and a
oh,
layout
cool, yeah,
board and a journal and all of that. So that's kind of the Uber edition. And
right. So go through all of the versions
yeah,
on
because we
Game
tried to make
Crafter.
it affordable for
Yeah.
people, but also those who wanted to splurge, they could do that too, right?
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
And
yep.
I would so get the big one.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
and some people don't like boxes. They just toss the boxes. Well, why buy one, right? Like,
Right.
Right?
So you can get it without the box. You can
yeah,
get the playing card version. I think when I was on there, the playing card version was really, reasonable. It was in the range of, typical tarot decks nowadays, in the 20 some dollar range, something like that, all the way up to this one. And there's, like you said, there's one that's even more than this, but the gold edition, if I was going to get it, this is the edition I would get.
Yeah.
And it's $75.99. And but there's all kinds of different versions, and you can get something affordable.
yeah.
But here, let me pop this in here. Pearls will take you over to Game Crafter, and then I have this other URL to take you to the auction page. So Roxy has a page on Facebook for the auction, so you can get updates and information and ways to contact her and links, like when she comes up with these videos, the walkthrough videos, the other information, the pages on the official auction site and everything like that.
Mhm.
Everything's, Roxy's going to be posting all this on her auction sale page for this auction. And this URL will take you right over there, psychic.cafe/Roxy auction. I couldn't make it any simpler than that.
Well, thank you
Again,
for doing this because
Yeah.
you're helping me get the word out because the tarot realm is huge. It's global.
Mhm.
And
mhm.
like you said, this is a rare opportunity. So the more people who know about it, somebody's going to go in and say they want that, right? And I've had feedback of people who have purchased the cards and they love the paintings and they love them, and they're always so surprised at how big they are. But
Yeah.
it's like, one woman who bought the moon looks like the woman in the moon card,
Oh,
right?
that is so cool.
Had seen that from when she had the first edition deck, and she
Wow.
resonated with the moon, and so now she has that. So I have photos of that on there, and yeah, it's just been really neat to hear the feedback from people who actually own them. And like you said, it's pretty rare, and I think that as an investment down the line, I mean, that's also an aspect as well, because like you said, there's only 80 of them in the world, um and that kind of thing. And well, I'm 70, so I'm not living forever. It's a good investment. Maybe in 25 years, you'll triple your quadruple your money. Who knows? I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's partly that as well. And yeah, it's been really quite neat to see. I have one video of somebody who's opening strength, and her response at the end was just like fabulous when she had opened it all up. And yeah, so it's really been good feedback for me to realize that people do want these paintings and that it is kind of a cool thing to have. And the further out that we can get, like if people are willing to share my posts and that kind of
Mhm.
thing, because who knows, right? Who would like one? I'm hopeful lots of people do. And actually,
Yeah.
most of the people that have purchased are people that have followed me from 2007, right? So
Right.
they kind of have resonated with the deck for years, right? And then it's like, wow, I have this opportunity to own one, right?
We went live on air officially was January 2010. So it was right after that when the Tarot Guild started in 2004, but it was local to San Diego. And then we went international with the website and the radio shows, which now have morphed into the radio shows slash YouTube shows. 14 years later, you
Yeah.
know. Oh, I wanted to say, so go over here to the page, psychic.cafe/Roxy auction, or if you're on Facebook, just put in Pearls of Wisdom Tarot auction. And when it comes up, be sure to like it and go through some of the postings and, especially the artwork ones, share them out on your own personal Facebook, because that will get the algorithm going, the liking the page and the post, like a bunch of the posts. Just go down and like and hit and like the page, and then share out, one or two or three or 10 or however many you want to share out on your Facebook. And if we all do that, it'll make it more viral, and it'll,
Exactly. Yeah.
get the word out there a little better and everything. We need to start. I was thinking, Michelle, we should share, uh go to this page, her page, right, and find posts and then hit the share button and put them on the Tarot Guild and
Yes.
the Psychic
Psychic
Cafe
Cafe.
groups.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I
And
can
I've
share
been
them on
doing
the
that.
Mystic Women.
Yeah, I've been doing that too,
Absolutely.
like the tarot marketplace. I can put it
Oh,
on there.
good, good.
And people like Mary Kay Greer have shared them out already, which I was just like so grateful because she has a wonderful following. And our buddy Chiro said that he would, once I've got my actual dates and everything in place, that he would post it on his page, and I'm sure Pamela will, and and I will be blatantly, please share my work, right? Because
Yes, absolutely.
somebody
Yeah.
out there is going to want them, and I only have so much reach, right? And everybody, and I think also the tarot realm, I never ever considered it competition. Like Pamela and
Mhm.
I got together and we worked together. We created the Tarot Creators, and we created a thing on a whole video on deck creation and all that. And our whole idea was to promote other people's decks as well, because I don't think that it's like a piece of pie that I'm cutting into your piece. I think you build a bigger pie, right? And when I first started with tarot, maybe there was 1,000 decks. I don't even know if there was that many decks at that point in the early 2000s. But now there's way more decks. So obviously there's an appetite for it. And I think my deck has stood the test of time. I
Mm-hmm.
think it is like a classic in its own right, right? Because it is such
Exactly. Yeah.
a different
You
approach to the tarot. Like I'm
know,
not making a clone of other decks. It is um its own deck. Like I did I have a couple of cards that are really quite different. Like, and these ones already sold. So this is the death
mhm.
card, right? So
Yeah.
there's no skeletons or whatever. She has stepped from a past
You can
mask
see
in
the
life
divider.
and stepped
Yes.
through to a new life, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it has a concept of death, but also a concept of rebirth. And then like my devil is a completely different image of that as well. And a lot of it I drew from my life. Like with this one, I had watched this beautiful young girl getting ready for prom, and she's absolutely the most beautiful girl. And she was looking in the mirror and seeing all of her flaws. And I'm like, you don't have any. So the whole idea, sometimes we are our own worst enemy, right? And the devil to me is lived spelled backwards. So whatever gets in the way of you living your best life is the devil, right? And so, and then for the death card was actually a friend of mine who had had a heart attack, kind of like that John Ritter had, where the aorta
Right.
was
Yeah.
attached, right? And she survived it. And then she decided to sell her business, and she met a young man, and she just moved and completely changed her whole life.
Mm.
Right. And so I kind of looked at all of the cards like that, like even the tower card. I don't know if I have it on the top here or not, but it has the broken set of pearls. And so they have kind of gone to other places, and new growth has come from that. And that's kind of what happened for me after we lost Shay. We had this opportunity to go to Grenada and the West Indies, and my husband worked at a pottery. My son went to an international school, and I took down 200 feet of canvas and took up painting. And so new growth came out of that really tragic situation. And then years later, um, Grenada got hit with Hurricane Ivan, and we managed to get a ton, literally a ton of seeds and relief supplies to Grenada. And I just say Shay carried them there because it didn't cost us anything, and they all got to the village where we wanted to, and all the seeds got distributed, and like all of that kind of stuff. So things came out of it that were amazing. And would I trade it back? I absolutely would trade back to have my son, but at least there was new growth and new life and new things that came out of it, and beautiful things that came out of it. So that's kind of how I tried to create the deck, was that there's as a way out. Every card has a way out. The only way out is through, but every card has a way out. And so yeah, some of the first ones that sold were the death cards and the devil card, which was kind of interesting for me.
I don't know if you know. So I feel like I feel like you are likened to Pixie, Pamela Smith. I think that's her name. The artist for the Rider Waite deck. I believe she painted all of the decks as well. If I remember
All the
correctly.
cards.
Yeah.
All the cards, yeah. She painted all of her cards at first as well, before they were a deck.
Well, yeah, back then that was the only way
That's
to do it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it just, but she poured her intuition in her heart and her soul into those paintings, and that made her an inspiration. So your paintings, your story, you are an inspiration. You are an encouragement to others. And your artistry is amazing. And each one of your paintings just holds not just a tarot and a meaning and just images from your mind, but it holds a story in itself. And so there is not even a price that you could put on these. Your paintings are just amazing.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it was a journey. Each painting was a journey. And I had to deconstruct it and then reconstruct it. And I just did little sketches in books. And I had this funny big piece of cardboard that I traced around to have so that I would have the same archway in all of the paintings. And
Mm.
there's a sun in the top or a moon in the top, and then the flag at the bottom that has the name. So like this one actually has a moon and sun in the top, and then the flag at the bottom, right? So they all
Yeah.
have that, and that's what held the deck together. It's kind of what I was talking about earlier, Dax, about having the cohesiveness if you spread them all out, if you were having multiple people doing it, but to have kind of a template or something to work from. So that was a big cardboard template. And um and I think having the resources that people gifted me, like the Tussie Mussy book and the runes and all of that was it was all gifts, right?
Mhm.
And so all of that kind of was brought into it as well. And I learned so much. It was a research for me. And I also have to explain that I'm a very non-linear person, like Ricochet Rabbit, right? If you remember that cartoon. I didn't like do all the aces or all the major arcana first or anything like that. Another
Right.
friend had gifted me the Swiss deck, which is almost no imagery in it, right? 5 discs, right? And I thought that's never going to work for me because I'm going to have to memorize numbers, and I can't hold numbers in my head. So I knew that I had to have something to read, like imagery, right? But I used
Mhm.
those cards. So I would just draw a card and go, oh, okay, this is the card. And then I would research it. And then I would take it all into words and I would look it up in all these different books and just kind of make notes and everything. And then I would reconstruct it going, okay, well, what flower does this have, right? Or what rune would also depict this or give it extra meaning. And I think when Pamela and our decks came out the same year, she also used runes. And I think we were the first ones to use runes. And so we actually had a lot in common when we did that and kind of connected right away and all of that kind of stuff. And so each painting was its own journey, and people I knew showed up in them. I only had one person pose, and that was my son for the magician.
Mm.
And all the rest, just people showed up, and I was like, oh, there's my husband. He's the hermit, and he's the hermit. Like, it was like, duh, right? Another friend showed up as the emperor, and all of that. My son Shay showed up as the three of pentacles, and so I just let it happen, right? I didn't try to prejudge. I didn't try to, um, yeah, to make it happen. And this one, who's my friend Heather, the Ten of Wands, well, she's a tap dancer and she's with a group called the Hot Flash Hoofers, and not hookers, hoofers.
I
And
love it. I love it.
she's has awards from Germany for tap dancing for Canada, right? And so there she is winning all these awards, and she just showed up in this painting. So it was a really kind of a magical journey for me. And I had a list on the wall, only 56 more to go, and that kind of thing, right? But it also, being so ill, it gave me a purpose. It gave me something that I
Right.
still could do, and to go, okay, I can get going on another painting. And I never pushed myself. I let it happen as I could, because when you have Lyme disease, sometimes you're just in too much pain and brain fog and all,
Right.
right? And then in the last, I guess 8 years now, when I moved to a place called Salmon Arm, I got sent to by my doctor to an acupuncturist. She does Chinese herbal medicine. And at that time, I was really sick. I had my son and 3 grandsons living with me, and my 90-year-old dad who had left his wife on the pull-out couch. And I just was not well. We had lost our house because we had a meth lab next door. It was just the
Mm.
tower in every way, family tower, right? And I got sent to this acupuncturist, and he did all my vitals and said, I'm surprised you're still alive. And I said, yeah, actually I am too. And he says, I think I have this treatment for you. It's but it's a 3 to 5 year treatment at least. And so I thought, well, I don't have anything else to lose. I'm already lost everything. So I took this treatment, and it was terrible. It tasted terrible. I called it my vile substance, and I um, had to drink it every day and all of that. And then slowly, it kind of ends up being like a country music song played backwards. I got my energy back. I got my sleep cycle back. I got my brains back, and I ended up with curly hair, which I'm loving because it was always bone straight. And so I got my life back, and now I'm living in Kamloops, BC, and my son and grandkids live here, and he's remarried, and so I get to see them, and so I have like reason to live and reason to go forward. And that's why this year, as I'm turning 70, I'm celebrating for the whole month, because I actually, 10 years later, I'm so much better than I was even at 50.
Hmm.
And
That
now
is
it's like, okay,
amazing.
time to sell these paintings and
Yes.
and live a little, right? And
Yeah.
Yep.
also to get them out of my son's basement, because my daughter-in-law is kind of like, they need to go. So
Yeah.
that's the whole idea here with the
I'm
auction.
gonna
Well,
I'm gonna
well,
throw
I want the
another.
painting behind you.
Oh,
I
isn't that
absolutely
great?
will.
I
I
like
want the
that.
flowers. That's the one
So
I'm gonna
The
want.
the one on this.
this is not a tarot. This one is
I
one
know.
not finished. This one I put there because it's hiding stuff. This is
Yeah.
one I've just started, and it will have
Mhm.
metal leaf and stuff in it. It's not anywhere
Mm,
near finished. And I've carved the words serenity,
Yeah.
mm.
well-being, prosperity, and friends and family in it. And I'm going to put that above my bed so that every
Oh,
morning I wake up, that I have that as my intention. It's called an intentional painting.
that
And
is beautiful.
I
and
like the one over your right shoulder.
this one's sold. So this is my friend Heather, and we've been
Yeah.
friends since grade
Uh-huh.
6.
Oh, cool.
So
So
I like your Ace of Cups
gold.
that just went to California, I believe 3 days ago. I noticed in your Ace of Cups that she is pregnant. Most Ace of Cups don't have that, and I understand now why. Yours is completely different. Can you explain your Ace of Cups?
Yeah. The Ace of Cups actually came from a previous drawing that I had done called The Fountain. And the idea was that she's holding the cup above her head. And in my concept of the cups, instead of it just being water, I'm calling it the elixir of unconditional love.
Mm.
And so as that is pouring over her, she's pouring it over herself first. So it's like taking care of herself, because that's what I needed to do.
Oh
That's what
yeah.
I needed to do for myself. I needed to take care of myself first. And then as you see,
Okay.
water pools at her feet and then goes out, and now those other flowers are nourished by that as well. So I realized, because of being sick, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? And so
Mhm.
you need to make sure that you fill your own cup first. And when that overflows, then you have enough to offer other people. And so you have, on the one side, you have rose quartz, which is self love, right? And the narcissus flower, and not so much to be narcissistic, but to be for yourself, right? To take care of yourself first.
Narcissus.
And then you have
Mhm.
the birds and stuff, where she's now taking care of the babies, right? So because you have taken care of yourself first, you now have energy and the essence to take care of others. So that's kind of where that comes from.
Wow. Okay.
So
I fell in love with this one.
that is my
So,
favorite painting of the series, and it was really hard to let it go. But
oh, I
only
bet.
so much space. I'm in an apartment now, so I
Hmm.
just don't have the room for them. But also the person that it went to, it just really suited that person. And that's what's been really cool too, is where they've gone to are people that I've known for a long time, online at least, right? And I know that
But all over the place.
it will go to it will be, she will love it, right? And
Yes.
and so it will be appreciated, and it's much better than it being under the stairs for 10 years,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so
Absolutely.
yeah, so it's like, yeah, it's also this huge letting go as well, right? Because I've kind of held on to them for so long, and it's been a rocky road getting here. It wasn't like, I at first it all seemed like I had everything, and I had the publisher, I had the worldwide distributor, I had all of that kind of stuff, yippee skippy, and then it all just like the tower, right? And the worldwide distributor went out of business from 2008, and all of that. And the person who wrote the first book, she passed away. So when I did my own my third edition, I rewrote everything. So that took me another year to rewrite
Right.
everything. And then I've also got a
Wow.
course. I've also got a course on global spiritual studies that is just on the major
Linda
arcana.
Marson?
Yeah, with Linda. Yeah. And it's a deep dive course that goes into each one of the major arcana, all the symbolism and stuff. And then it also includes an art project as well. It's like art therapy.
Mm.
So you end up with your own major arcana deck at the end of it. And
Nice.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to be presenting this year at TarotCon, and it's going to
Okay.
be like this by Zoom. And so I might demonstrate one of those paintings as well. And yeah, so it's under art therapy on Linda's Global Spiritual Studies course. And so I've, all of this time it's been kind of, I hate to use the word obsession, but I've been focused on it for 24 years,
Yeah.
right? And so now it's just like a time to let the paintings go, let them find their way around the world as well, because that was my goal at the beginning, was for my deck to sell globally. And so now if the paintings can sell globally, then I would it will be like an end cycle on the whole project, right?
Hmm.
Absolutely.
You
So
know,
I want to mention real quick, you can chat with Roxy by going to her page. This URL right here, psychic.cafe/Roxy, will take you right to her profile on Psychic Cafe. And of course, you have to join and sign into the website, but that's free. It's like joining Facebook. And then when you're signed in on the website, when you go to her page here, there'll be a link. Sorry, it's a icon, envelope icon to message her. And you can chat. It says chat. So if she's actually on the website, you can chat live. If she's not, just leave a message and it'll get over to her. She'll get an email saying that she has a message on the website. Hopefully on your profile, Roxy will get some images up and videos and so forth, like on the auction page,
mhm.
on the Psychic Cafe on your profile there.
I've got like all the videos. Excuse me, I could instead of the full long video, I could just do a section of a couple of different ones and then show the slideshow of
Yeah.
which ones are going to be for sale. So the ones that are for sale will be what's left of the major arcana.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 15 paintings that also includes the back of the card. So 14 of the major arcanas. And
Awesome.
yeah.
Oh, and I do want to mention, don't forget to go over to the auction page. So that's
Mhm.
psychic.cafe/Roxy auction, right? And all of her contact information is there as well. And you can like the page and you can share out some of the posts and
Invite your
everything.
friends. Invite
Yeah.
people to. Yeah.
Invite people to
Yeah.
it. Absolutely. And then lastly, I want to pop up the Pearls one, psychic.cafe/Pearls, where you can get your very own copy of the deck. And there's a whole bunch of different versions, like we explained. So make sure that you check this one out, which is, just my favorite package, the gold one. But you can type in there on GameCrafter Pearls of Wisdom Tarot, and it's going to come up with all the different packages and
Yeah.
versions and
And
things.
there's one more package we haven't discussed, which is kind of a cool one.
Oh, okay.
It's called Solitaro.
Mm.
And so it's Pearls of Wisdom Solitaire. And it was designed when we lost our house and I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment over the railroad tracks, kind of a very low part of my life. And the way I was coping was playing solitaire. And as I was playing, I started going, look at that, I keep getting these patterns. I keep seeing the same numbers. And then I started going, this is a reading. This is a reading, right? So I kind of looked at it that way. And so I created Solitaire, which is a full deck reading and game at the same time. And we put the numbers on the cards so that you can easily play red and black and lay them all out. And I just put that all together. So it's there's book on how you read it, and I was seeing that okay, this one you couldn't clear, so here's your block. And what is it blocking? It's blocking these cards. So it becomes how you play the game and all of that kind of stuff, and then it becomes a full deck reading at the same time. So there's something again rare. I don't think anybody else has done that either. I'm kind of one of these.
So what are you doing next Saturday? So I love solitaire and I play solitaire with my tarot cards.
Oh,
And
tell us about that.
and that's one of the ways I connect with my cards. I sit there and I play solitaire. And I was just talking about that on my show last Saturday.
Okay. Well, I just was, I was in a
You
very
are amazing.
and and then I started seeing the pattern. So, and then the way I
Yes.
figured out what means what is I laid out all the cards and I let the cards tell me what position means what. And the cards told me that, right? Or
Oh, I have to get your deck now.
and the solitaire tarot comes with how to play it, how to do all the layout and all of that kind of stuff. And then they're poker size deck and specially numbered. And then I made the playing cards from there. So I just tried to put it in as many directions as possible so that different people would pick up on different aspects of it, right? And yeah, so it's a little harder to play with the tarot because there's the extra cards, right? Like you don't have the jack, you have the page and the
Mm-hmm.
knight, right? So it's a little bit harder to play in terms of playing the game. But if you clear it all, then you kind of know, okay, things are good right now, right? But if you don't clear it all, then you know, okay, this card is blocking and which ones are blocked. And then you can kind of use that as your reading. So
Right.
it's yeah, so there's the Solitaro and yeah, the cards. And I'm grateful for
Yeah.
my son Bram because he's the techie and he has his own businesses called Level Up Enterprises. And he
Mm.
did all of my uploading to the Game Crafter, made everything fit, all the templates and all of that kind of stuff. And
Yeah, I've
he's
looked at the templates and
yeah,
that's a bit of work right there because I do a
it's a
lot in
lot of work.
Photoshop.
And when I sell all these paintings, he's going to get his cut, like definitely, right? Because otherwise he was going to have to sell them all anyways. And I had asked him one time, like, should I make more paintings? Like, they're just kind of piling up. And I mean, I do sell them and stuff, but I certainly have quite a few lying around. And he said, oh, we'll just do like an estate sale. And I go, okay, well, I'm just going to keep painting then.
Yeah.
So, right. So, and then this was his idea to do this auction. And then yeah, he's helped me through a lot of the technical stuff. And this next week he's going to come over and we're going to sit down and do some of the marketing and then how you can put it out on Facebook and as that'll come up on its own or whatever, schedule it and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm not constantly having to do it all myself every time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
then he's going to also look at like I said, I did the tally of where the decks have sold. So that's kind of where I'm going to focus some of my paid marketing to, like the Great Britain and Australia and California and Florida. Those are probably the most popular places that my deck has gone
Yep.
and stuff. And then so you can target market and that kind of thing, right?
Yep.
This kind
So
of thing is wonderful
real
because
quickly, here's all of our URLs if you want to contact any of us in between shows and chit chat, what have
Mm-hmm.
you. I already announced in the chat that we won't be getting to questions. This is an interview show, so we're not going to get to questions in the chat today, but you can join us tomorrow. Pamela Steele, that Roxy mentioned, Pamela Steele will be my co-host tomorrow. We'll be taking your questions. Maybe the phone lines will be back up
Oh,
from Blog
maybe.
Talk.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to I just wanted to mention a few of these things real quick. So we're coming to the end of the show here, so I want to get this out of the way. Our coffee page, psychic.cafe/coffee. It's our tip jar. If you want to go over there and grab us a cup of coffee. Upcoming guests, of course, Roxy today. We've got Stephanie coming on August 18th. Pamela Steele, who's going to be my co-host tomorrow, will also be co-hosting with me on Sunday, August 18th, to help me interview Stephanie Dreams. And her deck is called Enchanted Shadows Oracle Deck, which is coming out, I believe, in September. So she'll be our guest. Wanted to mention, if you want to become a host on the network and you want to explore all that, maybe you've always wanted to do your own YouTube show or radio, podcasting, the whole gambit, go to psychic.cafe/hosting. I guess I can pop that in the, let me grab the URL here. Pop that in the chat real quick here. Hosting. So it's psychic.cafe/hosting on that one. And let me see here. The Sunday show with Pamela tomorrow. And then our next show will be Monday with Charlotte as my co-host there. So that's everything coming up on the network. Really excited about these interviews that we're doing.
Mhm.
This has
Please
been,
say hi to Pamela for me.
yeah. I'll tell her tomorrow all about it. Hopefully she's going to listen to the replay of this on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
done quite a few things together over the years.
Oh yeah. We're going to get this replay out all over the place for you, Roxy. And this is
Yes,
so
definitely.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't wait till the next auction to come on. You can come on
Yeah.
anytime and hang out with us.
Mhm.
Well, maybe I'll come on after
Absolutely.
the first auction and kind of let you know how it goes, stuff.
Ooh,
And
That is a
definitely.
great idea. Let's do that.
okay, and then it'll be like, okay, now the next one. I haven't decided. I've sold two of the cups, like the ace and the two of cups have sold, and then the one of this one, but all the other ones I have all of them. So I might start with the swords, which is the heavy duty ones anyways. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll just draw a card and find out which one. I don't have that in my mind yet. But yeah, then it'll be each of the suits and stuff. And I have a lot of work to do because I have to film each one of them and voiceover and all of that kind of stuff. So but after I'm finished with it all, I'm going to be willing to help people or, maybe put together a presentation on how to do this because there are other, maybe they don't have as big of paintings, but say somebody who has smaller artworks and they want to get them out into the world, the auction process is.
We should do a workshop on Psychic Cafe and get it out there to everybody.
Yeah, like how
That
you
would
go
be
about
fun.
it. Yeah.
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 It takes a lot of time, but it's also for artists, it's all in-house. You don't have to take your paintings someplace and set them up. And every time you move them, you risk them, right? Getting torn or
Right.
Yeah.
whatever, right? And what I like about it is that it's all in-house and I can do it all in my studio and then just take it to FedEx and say, see ya, right?
Right.
So, smaller ones, it's probably easier. Like I have two other decks. I have the Sacred Feminine Oracle.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Oh,
have
beautiful.
those, and they are color pencil on paper, so they're 11 by 14. And then I have another deck called the Sideways Tarot, and it was created over COVID, and
Oh,
you
wow.
basically have it's from the viewpoint of the card, so you become the fool, you become the
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
right?
actually put out on multiple shows over the last like year or so, just giving away ideas saying, hey,
Yeah.
no one's done a really good sideways tarot.
So this is the sideways. So you become the fool. It becomes your viewpoint, right?
That's
And
so cool. What a cool idea. Yeah.
so all of them are, they become your hands. So that's justice.
Hmm.
And I like this one. This one's death.
You know, there's so many people that don't even know about these decks. I was thinking
This is my favorite one.
we need to do a Roxy Sim art group on the website and have all of your different decks and different things on this group, and you could talk
Sounds
about the art.
good. This is
That would be
one
so
from
cool.
my Sacred Feminine. And this one is actually an app through Indigo's apps. And you can try it for free. Like you can go onto your app store and type in Sacred Feminine Oracle,
Oh
and
yeah.
you can try this
Mm.
for free. And then on the back is the write up. So on the
Yeah.
app is how you can actually shuffle them on the app, and then you pick it, and then it comes up, and then you flip it, and it has um, a guided meditation and yeah, a guided meditation from each of the cards.
I
Wow.
like that. Yeah.
So yeah, these are, and here's the fountain. That was the one where the ace came from it,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
right? So,
Hmm.
and then let me just see quickly. Oh, my hands aren't working for me here. The offering, okay. So these were some of the paintings that I did, and they said, "Oh, that looks like a tarot card," right?
Yeah.
Right. So
I
that
can.
was
Wow.
the idea, and that's kind of how it went from there. And they're all falling on the floor now. So
Yeah.
um,
But also, Roxy, some other ideas I had was, do some little mini workshops where you're just, not necessarily about the auction process. We can do that as a separate thing. But I was thinking just you coming on talking about the whole process, like the whole artistic process, creating a deck, talking about publishing and self-publishing and things like that, and just hanging out for an hour and people could ask questions and
sure, yeah, that sounds good. I absolutely would be into that because
yeah.
I what I found is I don't think it really matters how well you do art. Just creating is therapy,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Even if
Hmm.
you're doing like a stick figure fool, you're still learning about what the meaning of the fool is and all of that kind of stuff. And
Right.
still going to reflect something back to you for you to consider, right? Maybe be a little bit more lighthearted and step out, to into the world and just kind of, try something new or whatever. And the art part of just creating art is definitely therapy. Like I studied art therapy and counseling and that kind of stuff at university. And I can definitely say that creating the Pearls of Wisdom and these other decks were my therapy. Like the Sacred Feminine Oracle, that happened while I was living in the one bedroom apartment over the railroad tracks, and I didn't have a studio. So my studio became my lab, right? I had a little light table, and I reclaimed a lot of my original artworks into color pencil to create the deck. And then the Sideways Tarot, well, the world went sideways in over COVID. So that was kind of my way of dealing with it, trying to see a new viewpoint and because the world had changed, right? So your viewpoint in the world had changed, right? So a friend of mine wrote the book that goes with that, Jade, and then the Sacred Feminine, I wrote all of that as well. So you have to kind of think. And the fellow that I have my app with, Frederic, he said that my app is unlike all the other Oracle apps because there's so much more in the writing. A lot of them, it's just
Mhm.
like, a simple, sentence or a paragraph
Yeah. I've
or
seen a
whatever.
lot of the apps and I'm not impressed.
And there's just
Yeah.
not that much meat in them or whatever, right?
Hmm.
And so he really appreciated my deck because I had all the writing that was kind of like a guided meditation as you were going through it, and then guidance for the cards. So like kind of a short guidance or a deeper guidance, right? And a lot of it is just working with art therapy aspect of it. What do you see? What jumps out at you first? Well, maybe that's what has the message for you today. And that's really true in my tarot. Oh, somebody might say, oh, I see the bee first. Well, then you could look it up and go, okay, well, this is what the bee means. Oh, okay, that makes sense. And I find when I do readings for people, I don't do past, present, future, or any layouts at all. I just say, okay, what do you need to know? And we'll choose 3 cards, and they get to do the splitting of the deck and choose which pile that they want. And I put the 3 cards out and basically tell the story, is what you were saying, right? Tell the story of each card. And they know how that represents or how that resonates for them. And
Mm-hmm.
I've even had people say, oh no, this is the order that they need to go in and move them around, right? This is the past, this
Yeah.
is the future, right? Instead of me
Mhm.
trying to interpret it or put my own what I think it should be on them, I just read what the card is. And then I found them to be like I will stand back after and just be quite amazed at my deck because they resonate so well with people and
Yeah.
they kind of do their own reading in a way,
They're
right?
very good. Yeah, and they're very good for, working with a client. Like, yeah, a lot of times we're reading over like this, like over a Zoom or a Skype call or something. And, I mean, the cards are for the reader. The reader's supposed to be reading the cards. They're not really for the client. You know, uh, some people read it in a gestalt method where the client's there side by side with them and they're laying the cards and it's like, look at this card. How does that make you feel? What do you think? Gets them involved. But a lot of times, people go to California Psychics online or whatever, or random, keen, and it's like, I have a question, and the reader pulls the cards, doesn't even mention, we do on these shows because people come here to learn how to read tarot.
Mm-hmm.
So we're always showing the card and it's like, okay, I got this card and then I got this card. But um when I'm working with a client, I'm just putting the cards down and I'm telling them the answers to the question. I'm not showing them the cards and stuff like that. It's a little different. But when you're in person with somebody, your deck, I think, is really, really good because it's not, just the flat, I'm sorry, the Pamela Smith Pixie fans out there are going to kill me. I'm going to get all the hate mail now. You know, it's the colors and it being colorful and
Mhm.
almost three-dimensional. And yeah, if I'm with a client and I'm laying cards down, I want them to see that, not the Wade Smith.
Well, actually, the three-dimensional, if you look at them through a magnifying glass, they do go 3D. It's quite
uh,
cool.
yeah,
So they
yeah,
do have that kind of magical effect. But I think part of it too, when I do a reading, I will then send them the images
right.
because I really think that the readings are, yes, are in the moment, but they can also be longer than in the moment, or they can be something that they can
Mhm.
meditate on. And then I would send them the write-up from the card as well, so that,
Oh, yeah, go ahead. I before I forget, I got to say something, but go ahead, finish up
okay,
real
so
quick.
yeah, that would send the write-up for the card as well. So then they would have further information and that kind of thing. If
Nice.
I'm doing it in person, I let them take a picture of them.
Right, there you go. You take a picture of them, a lot of times, if I am showing the cards and I I'll use the Llewellyn deck or Chiro's Tarot Grand Lux is very pretty. I'll use something pretty. I won't be using Waitsmith, and I will show them here on the camera, and that's being recorded, and I give them the
Yeah.
the
And
recording,
then see
But what
that.
I but what I wanted to mention before I forget is what you said about, laying the cars down, and then sometimes it's like, no, that goes here, and you're like moving them around and everything like that. I've
Mhm.
always been a rebel that way. On the shows, I sometimes pull 2 or 3 cards, a lot of times I pull a full 5 card spread, and sometimes I'm doing a yes no spread with it, sometimes I'm not. But a lot of times I lay the cards down, and it's like the fourth card is, what I'm drawn to first, and I'm looking at the story, and I'm like, oh no, that goes here. And I'll do them totally out of order. I'll move the cards, and put the fourth card first, and the fifth card will go third, and and I'm moving them around. uh and a lot of diehards would be like, oh my god, no, once you lay the cards, once the client picks the cards, you can't touch them. And like all these different things, and me, I'm just
Yeah,
sitting
I
here
knew them.
going, no, that doesn't make sense. I'm putting
Yeah.
that one here, I'm putting this one here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
I've had just bizarre occurrences. One time I did a reading for a twin,
mhm.
and all the cards that came up had twins in them. Like how does that happen, right? Like it was
Yeah,
right. And
that's
so,
brilliant.
there's just been things like that where I go away going, well, this has been uncanny, right? So, because I didn't know about tarot before I started. When I started doing readings, like it really kind of blew me away as to how effective it is and how it works. And I can't really say how it works, but I don't think I've had a bad reading. And a lot of people are just like, yeah, that really resonates for me. And a lot of it, I don't ask them the question. I just
Hmm.
say, I'm going to read you the cards because you know your question. And I don't want to be
Mhm.
interpreting, right? I just want to be able to tell them what the cards mean. And then, 9 times out of 10, they'll say, well, this means this for me and this happened and da da da. And especially when I see like the tower show up or something like that, I'm just like, oh, right. So, but I'm trying not to put my oh on that. And so it's been interesting, especially reading people's birth cards because the
Yeah.
tower comes up, right? In those cards, right? And Bonnie Chevet, do you know Bonnie?
Yes,
So
we
Bonnie, yeah, she had a
had her
book on
on.
the birth cards and you or whatever.
I love the birth cards.
And that's a really good book. And I've used that quite a bit. And people have felt that it's very accurate as well, right?
Hmm.
So and I was like, so what do I know? I just painted them, right? So it just
Exactly.
let them be what they are. And I remember a guy named Alex Satin when
Bonnie
I
Chevet, oh my god, we got to get her on the show.
do you
Anyway,
remember Alex Satin? Do you remember
yeah.
him? And he had said, "Oh no, I don't do those. Is he going to come back to me? As because those are wet spaghetti readings." So I
Wet
just
spaghetti. I love-
did wet spaghetti
Spaghetti.
reading.
That's so brilliant.
So
I love
so
it.
it's been
Well,
interesting to meet all the different people and garner and gain and learn from them as well.
right. Well, we're coming up on the bottom of the hour. We got to get out of here. I wanted to mention again, go over to the auction page and like it, and like all the posts and videos in there, and share some out and send your friends. Psychic.cafe/Roxy auction will take you there. Remember to go over to psychic.cafe, and become a
Well, I hope
member.
this brings
It's
more
free.
people to you too.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
That's the whole idea,
I
right?
love that. A rising tide, lifts all boats. That's my
Yes.
famous saying I say all the time. I apologize to anybody that came into the chat and had, questions and so forth. Not questions for Roxy, but like personal questions, where we decided not to do those today because we're doing the interview. But I'll be on with Pamela Steele tomorrow, same
Yay.
bat time, same bat channel, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Come on, and you can ask your questions. Maybe the phone lines will even be working tomorrow. Who knows?
That would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah. But I
Uh,
want to thank you for being our guest. And this was a fun
yeah,
show. I think everybody had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. And you got to
Yes,
come
thank
back
you,
real
Roxy.
soon, real soon.
Yeah. Well, I'll come back once I've done the auction, and then
Yeah.
I'll have some feedback on how it went and all of that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Fingers crossed.
So it
It will,
ends in October when?
The actual bidding will be the first 2 weeks in October.
First 2 weeks?
Just
Yeah. Okay.
to limit the time so that people, commit, right? But also to give
Right.
it a bit of time so that the bidding can increase, and fingers crossed that'll happen. And that people will get the painting that they would love, and then I'll have my grandson helping me with all the packing. So I'm really grateful that I have many hands to help this go through and
Yeah.
happen. And maybe by then, well, by then I'll have that other painting finished, so I'll show it again where it's gone to.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
That'd
yeah,
be
it's
great.
kind of a neat process too. So yeah, and thank you so much for doing this, because this is
Thanks for being
definitely
here,
going to help
Michelle.
me
And
get the
Thank
word
you.
out. And nice to
Thank
meet
you,
you,
Roxy.
and take good
It
care,
was a
everybody,
pleasure.
yep.
and give
Bye,
love
everybody.
for me.
Thanks
Okay,
for
take
being
care.
here. Thanks for being here, Roxy. And we'll be talking to you soon. See you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.
So we are out